Life happens. Sometimes things will feel easy. Sometimes things will feel challenging. I think the experience of being human is to have the full range of human emotions. Sometimes things that feel good, sometimes things feel don't. I think the invitation of being a human is to have a truly lived experience and experience it all. And today I want to ask you, are you embracing it or are you resisting it? I see so many of my clients going along well, making healthy changes to their habits, making progress, and then something happens. There's a life event or a trauma, it might be relationship breakdown or work or family drama, might be financial pressure, might be illness, injury, might be taking on responsibilities, stepping into a new position, maybe just caring for the needs of others. And the truth is that happens to all of us in life. We have all of these things that happen. And what I see happen for my clients is that they get overwhelmed and suddenly everything stops. They get into thinking it's too much or it's too hard. And then success or even progress in many cases goes back to becoming impossible. And so often in that moment, they return to old, unhealthy habits, old forms of self-sabotage. And our brain does this because those things are familiar. The brain shuts down our conscious thinking and goes back into survival mode, just doing what it's always done, just doing what it knows best. These are the habits that are the most familiar, they're the most comfortable. We've practiced them, even if they're not really comfortable. Sometimes they're even uncomfortable to do. And they're certainly not useful. It's just the things that our brain has practiced the most. It's familiar, it doesn't really have to think about it, so it just goes back there by default. Now that's okay, nothing's going wrong there. That's just our brain doing what it's supposed to do. It's trying to keep us alive. But it isn't the only way to go about it. Today, I really want to share with you some tools that I use so that I personally can overcome my overwhelm, and I can help my clients overcome their overwhelm. Get back into creating more of the life that we want to be living. You really can keep moving forward. Before we get to that, I'd like to ask you though, what has been your default reaction to challenging situations and circumstances in your life? What do you normally practice? Do you argue with reality? Do you think things like it shouldn't be happening, it's wrong, it's not fair? Do you get into blame? Either yourself, the other person, the situation, blaming the universe? Do you avoid? Do you buffer? Do you shut down? Do you find yourself self-sabotaging with old, unhelpful, unhealthy habits? Someone said something mean to me and I felt bad, and suddenly I'm back in the fridge or in the cupboard. Maybe you simply drop yourself down the priority list and you let go of your healthy habits, or simply put your health and well-being efforts aside. Can't do it now, I have to do all this other stuff. What if that's not true? What if you can manage your situations and get through the challenges and look after yourself at the same time? That's what I'd like to offer you today. And as I said, I'm going to give you 3 tools, 3 ideas, 3 ways of thinking and looking at things that I find really help. I guess before we do that, I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm Brian. For those who don't know me, I'm a life coach and a weight loss coach, and I transformed my relationship with myself in 2006. And when I did so, I lost 50 kilos. I've maintained that 50 kilo loss ever since, and now I help other people transform their thinking, change their habits, and reach their goals, like losing weight for good, really anything else they want to achieve. If you do want to check out more of my work, you can head to Live More Life, youre.com.au and grab my 10 secrets for long-term weight loss. You also check out my other videos while you're there. And hey, while you're there, you might also want to download the Overcome Overwhelm worksheet for today's video. If that's an issue in your life, I think this worksheet will really help you through. So you can find that link in the description or at livemylife.com.au. So let's share these 3 tools with you today. The 3 thoughts that I found really useful to help me and my clients bust through challenging situations in their life and to keep making forward, to keep growing, keep developing, keep learning, and gaining new skills and new capacity. All right, the first one actually comes from Byron Katie, one of my great teachers. And I'm so thankful that I found her work and that I've understood this concept. It works so beautifully in my life. And she says, everything happens for you, not to you, perfectly and right on time. You don't have to like it. It's just easier if you do. And I love this idea that everything happens for us. Everything here really is a gift to help us level up, to help us grow, to help us become a more complete, a more whole human being. Now, often, don't get me wrong, I'll come to a situation, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling stressed, or I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling upset or angry. And I don't always immediately understand how it's for me. You know, sometimes I question like, why is this here? Why is this happening to me, right? Classic victim thinking. But I always love trusting in the belief that this is here for me, even if I don't understand how or why at this moment. And it lets my brain release and let me just start to explore other possibilities. I can just trust that it's there. You know, I often find that our biggest areas of growth in life, the times when I've really leveled up and moved forward, really created powerful change in my life, have often stemmed or come out of the most difficult or challenging times in my life. Without fail, every difficult situation has helped me become more of the person I am today, has helped me grow. Overcoming that has improved my life. So I'm grateful for having had all of the challenges, all of the unpleasant times that have happened in my life. They've led me to here. So to help you in this situation, I like to ask these questions too, like, how are you feeling about this challenge? And by the way, if you're a person who doesn't really have any challenges in your life at the moment, how are you feeling about what's good in your life? Let's get conscious of how we're actually feeling. And then I want you to notice that, are you allowing that feeling? Are you welcoming it in, or are you resisting it? It's amazing how often even the good things in our life we resist. We think they shouldn't be happening, or we don't deserve them, can't be real, it's all going to fall apart eventually, things like that. Can we just allow our success? And can we allow the challenges? Can we go, yeah, I'm upset, or I'm angry, or I'm confused, or I'm insecure. Can I allow that at the moment? What is it here to offer me, to teach me? Once you've acknowledged how you feel, and by the way, if you're doing the worksheet, I've made space for you to write down all of the challenges, all the things that are going on in your life. It's sometimes very, very helpful to get it out of your head and get it onto paper, right? One of the reasons why we feel so overwhelmed is because our brain can only hold so many pieces of information. It can really only pay attention to about 4 things at a time. And so if you've got a lot going on, it can all be swimming around in there. That's why I often feel like we get overwhelmed or we can't handle it. It feels like it's too much because our brain's trying so hard to process everything, to keep it all the balls juggling in the air. I offer for you that simply just getting it out, putting it on paper, often really gives you a sense of relief. You're like, oh, okay, here are the things. I don't have to think about them all. I don't have to keep them all in my brain. They're right here on a piece of paper in front of me. So really get them out. Just that alone can often really help. Notice how you're feeling about them. So I would encourage you to write down the feeling. What's the primary feeling about this? I'm sad, or I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm worried, I'm anxious. What is it? Let's put it in there. And once you can see it, you also get to ask yourself, well, how do I want to feel? Right? If I've had some grief or some trauma or some loss, Do I want to feel sadness about that? Well, yes, I do. It's a sign that I really cared. It was a sign that was meaningful, important. I want to feel sad about that. If I've got something like a medical appointment coming up, or an issue or an illness or something like that, worried about a diagnosis or a prognosis, then you might go, oh, okay, I feel really worried. I feel really anxious. I'm concerned. Then you might want to ask, well, do I want to feel that? Is it helping me? Is it serving me? Right? And then whatever it is you're feeling, right, do this next level thing and ask yourself, well, how do I want to feel about feeling that? This is where we so often get into trouble, where we start judging the feelings that we're actually having. Oh, I shouldn't feel angry. I shouldn't feel worried. I shouldn't feel nervous. I shouldn't feel sad. I should be better. I should be stronger. I should do things differently. Really just, I invite you to, can you let that go? And drop the judgment about how you're feeling and just go, this is what I'm feeling. It's here to tell me something. Feelings are a guide to our thinking. They're indicators. They're like the traffic signals of our life. They kind of tell us to slow down, to stop, to pause, to go forward. So can you just pay attention and notice? Just allow it to be there and really feel it wholly and completely. And then have a look at, well, do I want to feel that way? If not, what do I want to feel instead? You know, watch out for, do I like my reasons for feeling how I'm feeling? And then is it useful for me to keep it? If it is, stop fighting it, allow it in. What happens is you'll find that if you allow in emotions, our brain actually processes them. When we can understand them, we can go, yep, this is important. It's here for a reason. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to welcome it in. It really is kind of an opening up to it. Then what you notice is it passes more quickly. When we try and fight it and we resist it, we push against it and think it shouldn't be there, then we kind of just go over it again and again and again in our minds. We get trapped, we get locked in it. We keep recreating that feeling with the same repetitive thinking. When we can meet it with understanding and compassion, often it lets us go. It moves on. So everything happens for you, not to you. Can you open yourself to that possibility? Can you write down what's going on, notice your feelings, allow them in, and stop resisting? And let go of the judgment about it. That's tool number one. Tool number two. I also like to believe that the universe never gives us more than we can handle. The universe never gives you anything more than you can already handle. And the way I love to think about this is, you know, sometimes I think we just can't handle this emotion. It's too much, right? This idea of overwhelming. It's more than I can handle. But the truth is, all of our emotions, even overwhelm, shame, embarrassment, concern, anxiety, depression, all of them are created in our brain. You know, the pain, the hurt, like the emotional hurt, trauma, it's happening in our brain. We're remaking it in the moment. It's a physical sensation in our body in response to neurochemicals being created and released in our brain. Now, that all sounds very impersonal and scientific, but what I love about it, it reminds us that we are responsible for all of our feelings. And by definition, because we are creating them in our brains with our neurons and our neurochemicals, we have the capacity to experience them. We're the ones creating it. We are the ones having the capacity. So it's never too much. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, what I offer here is to encourage you to notice if you're trying to control things that aren't in your control. So often we get this feeling of overwhelm, or we feel like we're losing control. We feel like we're having these unpleasant emotions, and we're trying to control everything else. We're trying to control the people, the situation, the circumstance, the universe. Try and go, and if we could just control everything, then we'll feel better. Byron Katie calls this arguing with reality. And she says, and when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. I've always found this to be true. As soon as we're starting to think things shouldn't be this way, this isn't the way it should be different from how it is, We start to argue, we start to fight with reality, and all that happens is we suffer. It doesn't change anything. I mean, I'd be all for it. I'd like, if you could actually go control the world, control other people, control everything successfully and have that work, let's do it. Let's make everyone have an amazing life. But we can't. It never works. And all that happens is we feel frustrated and resentful and angry and upset that it's not working, right? The universe shows us our lack of control of other people and of the situation. What we do have control is ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our responses, how we care for ourselves, our actions. So on the worksheet, there's space here to write down all of the things, like have a look at all the things that are going on and just ask yourself, well, how many of these things are outside of my control? Can I control what my medical results will come back at? My prognosis or diagnosis will come back as? Probably not, right? Can I control what someone else is doing? Not really. So write down all of the things that are outside of your control that you've been trying to control. And just notice in there, I'm giving you a space, a little check mark. If you've been spending time and energy and resources and effort trying to control them. Now, if you have noticed that nothing's going wrong, that's our brain trying to protect us, trying to keep us safe, trying to control our environment so we don't have to be stressed or worried or have these other negative emotions. Emotions don't have to be positive or negative. They can just be. And I invite you to go, well, what if I just, by definition, you wrote these down as outside of my control. So what if you just stop spending that effort? You consciously decided, I'm not spending any more energy, effort, time, and resources trying to control these things. I'm just going to allow them to be and trust. Part one, I'm going to trust that they're here for me. It's not happening to me. This is particularly useful when you're feeling an overwhelm, because then you can also make a list, and I've got another page for this, to write down the things that are within your control. I can control what I think about me. I can control how I care for me. What is within my control? What actually can I do? And I really encourage you to make that list. And if so, write down all the things that are in your control, and then maybe just pick one and break them down into individual actions. What are action steps that you actually could take, maybe right now, to move forward? If you weren't trying to do everything, if you just brought it back down to just one thing, what could you realistically, simply, easily do? This idea of just choosing one thing is really powerful, right? And I invite you to give yourself the gift of just doing one thing at a time. In the end, it actually really is all our brains can consciously do. The present is the only time we have to actually live our life. And if we can just do one thing at a time, then pick one that you can do and take action on it. And just go, there's nothing else I should be doing at the moment. There's just this one thing that I can do it. It is realistic. I've made it simple. I've made it easy. I will take action on it. And then when that's done, you can mark it off, give it a check mark. Go, yes, I've taken action on that. And then you can go, what's the next thing? Take action. What's the next thing? And take action. And very soon you realize that you can actually take control. You can move forward. You can care for yourself. There's lots of things that are within your control. It's not too much. You can succeed. You can keep moving forward. So, part two, will you give yourself the gift of doing just one thing? The universe doesn't give you more than you can handle, ever. So what's within your control? What's not? What will you do? What's next? Tool number three is a reminder that you can choose to love yourself through this situation. Loving yourself is truly always totally available to you. And so it's worth asking, if you're in a challenging situation, How would you be looking after yourself if you truly loved and cared for yourself in this moment? How would you have your own back? And if you're not sure, it feels a little bit too hard to think about caring for yourself, imagine if you had a friend or a family member who was going through a really challenging situation. How would you care for them? And then can you apply that same thing to yourself? Could you just be there, be present with yourself, and remind yourself that it's going to be okay. Whatever happens, you're able to work through it. This is here for you. It's an opportunity to grow, to develop. Can you have gratitude for everything that you do have? What would you be doing differently? Or what would you stop doing if you were truly loving yourself through this situation? Great question I find to ask, and I find it useful to try and come up with an answer for in so many situations in our life. It's a beautiful default question. What would love do here? What would love do here? Just asking that, you'll probably find that many things start to come to mind. So, could you practice that? Could you try bringing love to every situation, even the challenging ones? I want to remind you today that you are not the result of your experiences. You are the result of what you choose to do with your experiences. You are the creator of your life. So, are you embracing your human experience? What will you allow into your life? What feelings will you allow yourself to feel? What will you take action on? How would you love yourself forward into the future you want? Well, I'd love to hear your experiences. If there's a challenge in your life, or if you're feeling some overwhelm, grab the worksheet. Bring yourself some curiosity, some understanding, some compassion. Then let me know what shifts for you. Notice that if you get that sense of relief just from getting it out of your head, or if the possibilities start to open up for you when you ask, what would love do? That you find the capacity to start moving forward again by breaking it down into just one small thing. I'd love for you to let me know in the comments. And of course, there's an open invitation that if you need more help getting a perspective on your situation or working through a challenge in your life, well, then remember that coaching can help. Of course, you can head to livemorelife.com.au and request a free consultation. I'll spend some time with you and we can talk about what's going on. You know, life coaches, we get to help people every day make decisions, solve their problems, change their habits, and create more of the life that they want. I'd love to help you create more of the life you want. So let's have a conversation. If you like it, find we're a good fit, we can also talk about continuing to work together if you want to. If not, get some help, move on with your life. I'll remind you once again, you are the creator of your life's experience. It's not happening to you. All right. Well, if this has been helpful for you, then give me a like, give me a heart, give me a reaction. If you're watching on YouTube or on my video blog, then don't forget to subscribe. If you know someone for whom this would be helpful, then please tag them in the comments. Please share them the link. I want to help as many people as possible. And I don't want you to be stuck anymore. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to be powerful, to be in charge of your life. I hope this video has been useful for you. Have an amazing day. Remember, you've got this. You can absolutely handle it. You can keep moving forward. You keep growing. You keep learning. You keep developing new capabilities through your challenges. They are here for you. You have the capacity. You can love yourself through it. I wish you much love and success. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.